Hi everyone, today we are going to cover the topic of understanding decimals. Well, decimals are a way to represent numbers that fall between whole numbers. So they are based on the idea of dividing a whole into smaller parts. Similar to a fraction, the decimal point is used to separate the whole number part from the fractional part. Each digit to the right of the decimal point represents a different power of 10. For example, I'll need 0.1. 0.1 is 0.1 is a decimal, and it represents 1/10, or 1 divided by 10, basically. And then the 0.20, 0.25 represents 25 hundredths, or 25 divided by 100. Okay, and 1.5 represents 1 and 5/10, or 9 divided by 5/10. So 1 and 5/10. So this is essentially how to convert fractions to decimals. They are pretty similar. So this place would be the tenths place, and then as you go on would be the hundredths place, thousandths place, and so on. So you need to always make sure to consider decimal places when converting decimals, or just doing any math with decimals. Okay, now here are some examples of operations with decimals. So for addition, let's try 0.3 plus 0.7. Let's try that right now. I'll pause the video for as long as you like. Okay, well 0.3 plus 0.7 is just 1, because 0.3 plus 0.7, if you rewrite it like this, 7 plus 3 is 0, you carry the 1 over, 1, and the decimal point is the same, so you just add right here, 1.0. So in this case, both decimals were only had a tenths place, which made it easier for us to solve this problem. Okay, now for subtraction, 2.5 minus 1.3. Pause the video and try to solve it. Okay, well 2.5 minus 1.3, rewriting it this way is obviously easier to understand it at first. 2, you move down the 1, so it's 1, but it's not 12, you have to move down the decimal point to 1.2. Since they both have the same decimal points again, it's pretty easier, it's pretty much easier, yeah. And then for multiplication, 0.4 times 0.6 equals, pause the video. Okay, well this is just 0.24. Well, this is because multiplying decimals is pretty much just multiplying normal numbers. 4 times 6 is just 24, right? We just move decimal points. Oops, my bad. We just move decimal. Since we multiplied, since we have 1 decimal point here and 1 decimal point here, you have to move the 1 over here, because we have to move it 2 spaces, making it 0.24. When you add, it doesn't really matter, because you have the same decimal point and then it doesn't really change anything. But for multiplication, the decimal point is moved from the total sum of like the decimal points. And in this case, there's one here, so you move it 2 spaces. And notice how the product of this multiplication is smaller than both factors of this multiplication equation. That is because if you multiply decimals, they get smaller. They don't get bigger like normal numbers do, they get smaller. As for division now, 0.8 divided by 0.2 equals, pause the video. Okay, well this is just 4.0. 0.8 divided by 0.2. Well, it's hard to divide with decimals. In this case, it's pretty easy because 0.2 goes into 0.8 4 times. Just add 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. But normally, you would move the decimal point here to make it into a full number. You move the decimal point for both numbers the same amount of time to make the divisor a full number. And then it makes it easier, just 4. Well, that is it for today's video. Today we just did basic understandings of decimals. Thank you.